Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Today we're going to be covering the 2022 Ford Maverick. We're going to be covering all those options that could cause delay, the options that will definitely cause you a delay because they're just not available right now. And of course, we'll be doing yet another build and price. So today we're going to be covering the Lariat build and price. So that's the 2022 Ford Maverick Lariat. Now I've got some stuff in store for you because this is a model you may very well want, especially if you're a US resident. If you're a Canadian resident, well, you might not be as interested in this model because it's a lot more money. However, when you're looking at a Lariat and, in the States, well, you can actually have a hybrid front wheel drive Lariat. So the price with an XLT with luxury package isn't that much more. So I find that, if you're an American resident, there's definitely some very, very strong interest in going with the Lariat. You're getting for, a few of the things, I'll cover it completely in the video properly, but you're getting, push button start. So keyless entry, push the button, start the vehicle. You can keep the key in your pocket or hidden away in the vehicle if your insurance company allows that. And well, of course, you have the Axivix interior. Axivix material, they're calling it material, but really everyone, when they touch it, see it, sit in it, think that it's leather, but it's actually quite a bit more durable from what I can tell. Looks like it's made from recycled plastic, so that's great and a huge plus. And well, it doesn't stain, it doesn't absorb like leather does. But first, before we get into all that, that's the format of this whole video. We're gonna start off with, some must know Maverick talk. So, I've been worried because it's been bothering me, so I've kind of made this video a little rushed, you could say. But there's been some word going around that you need to have, you can have a hybrid that can pull 4,000 pounds. Now, some major media sources, they didn't specifically say, hey, you can have this, but what they did say is if you want to pull 4,000 pounds, you need the 4K tow package, and that you'd be better off with an EcoBoost. And better off is not at all the correct term. It's misleading. It can get you kind of thinking about the wrong package. If you need to pull 4,000 pounds, you can't have the hybrid. Now, of course, I'm going to be sourcing this, so on either side of me, there'll be stuff going by throughout the video, and I'll try to source absolutely everything, but simply put, it's in the Ford order guide. The Ford order guide very clearly, and I'll read it as it is, but it's NA for non-applicable. So when you look for the 4K tow package, it's going to tell you straight up in the order guide. Now, before you order up your vehicle, either your salesman at your dealer ideally should have this at his desk, or you can print it off and kind of read through it. But I'll read that for you straight up right now. So 4K tow package straight from the Ford Maverick order guide says NA, so that's not applicable, with 2.5 liter hybrid engine. Late availability for the front wheel drive EcoBoost. So, it's tough because right at the very beginning of the order guide, now I'll let you know what page that is. That's gonna be, you can first find that on page 3, but on page 1, right up the top when it's talking about, late availability. So I will cover all the late availability, but a lot of confusion probably comes from this. Right on page 1 of the order guide, it says 4K tow package, 53Q, that's the order code, for front wheel drive XL and XLT. So, if you're still on the first page, it looks like 4K will be offered for front wheel drive later on, including the hybrid. But when you get to page 3, it's right in white and black. You need to have an EcoBoost engine. It's not applicable for the hybrid. Now, I don't think it's going to be applicable or really something that the team at Ford can work out anytime soon, because what happens is when you have a hybrid, you have that ECVT transmission, and with that ECVT transmission, now it's not a straightforward CVT transmission, which is just a strap. This is nonetheless a mechanical transmission. CVTs generally can pull anywhere from no weight to 15 pounds, and I'd be worried about, if you're pulling 1,500 pounds with a CVT transmission every single day. Now that would be a belt, one that's based on, a belt system. I wouldn't pull 1,500 pounds every day, and I certainly wouldn't pull 1,500 pounds with a CVT transmission for, hours at end. But the eCVT can pull 2,000 pounds, but I don't think engineers anytime soon will be able to get an eCVT up to 4,000 pounds. So don't count on that one. And if you do want 4K towing and you want front wheel drive, well, you're gonna have to go with the EcoBoost, number one. And number two, you're gonna have to wait. It's right on Ford's order guide saying late availability. And late availability, from my experience, you know, I talked to my brother about this, and he's been at Ford for almost 30 years, and he says generally, you know, sometimes it could mean, you know, spring, and sometimes it could also mean, you know, next summer or even next fall. So right now we have no idea when we'll be able to have 4,000 pound towing with the front wheel drive. So you might want to consider changing your order. And if you do change your order, don't worry, that's not going to change your place in line as long as you haven't already been assigned a VIN. So if you've been assigned a VIN and a build date, you likely can change either nothing or very little. Maybe the color, but changing something like that probably isn't gonna be possible. But anyways, you won't, if you have 4K towing on a front wheel drive, you definitely don't have a build date, and you don't have a VIN because that's late availability, and at the moment is very much not available. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the Don't Be Fooled section, or what could go under the category of Don't Be Fooled. I was asked, and I actually got this wrong, but I corrected myself quickly in the comments section. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for those that ask questions, and also thank you for those that help answer the questions. And a user, RD, answered Wally. Actually, I went in to give my answer, and I saw that RD had already answered it. But anyways, Wally, someone else with a nice poodle, asked me the question, how do you get lane centering? And you know, I had originally answered, traditionally at Ford, you always have to have Copilot 360 2.0 or assist, or you know, you can't just have the simple Copilot 360 the way the Maverick does. So you usually always have to go with the 2.0. That's when you go from lane keeping. So regular Copilot 360 has lane keeping, meaning if you start to go out of your lane, the steering wheel is going to shake and the vehicle is going to bring you back, but only once you start to go out of those painted lines, when the lines happen to be painted. So lane centering works on keeping you right in the middle of the lane. And actually, the Lariat luxury package comes with adaptive cruise control and lane centering, which traditionally at Ford has always required Copilot 360. So that's another little area I could say under the Don't Be Fooled category. So keep that in mind when you're picking what Maverick is right for you. And really the whole goal of this video is that I want to help you pick the right Maverick. Get the right Maverick, and at least have you be aware of what could hold back the production of your Maverick. We'll get to the build and price in just a moment. Let me just finish off the list of late availability. So we already talked about front wheel drive with 4,000 pounds of towing, and that's only on the EcoBoost. Furthermore, splash guards. You know, the molded splash guards, that's gonna get you slowed down. So why don't you get those from your parts department? Also, the plastic bed liners, or some call them a bed tray liner. I know the order guide calls them a bed tray liner. I've never heard anyone use that term, but I call it a bed liner. So your plastic bed liner, that could definitely cause you a late availability. And it's not just definite, sorry, it will cause you a late availability. And we just don't know when that's gonna be available. So that's the bed tray liner. Now let's continue. You also have, sorry, I will correct myself. You have the bed tray liner 96B code. You have the bed liner, that's the hard drop-in. You also have the bed divider kit. You have the rear crossbars. The rear crossbars are the ones that are on top of the bed. And you also have rapid red metallic tri-coat, which is a color that's currently, you know, don't pick that on your build if you want to get your Maverick as soon as possible. So you can confirm all that with the order guide. I've had it right beside me to make sure that you not just hear it, but you see it. I like to provide proof, and when you write comments, please also, when possible, provide proof, because it helps the community to make sure that we're getting this all right. No one has all the answers, so if someone in the comment section says something that's just not quite the case, well, you know, use a source to build your to support your argument, because we're not here to fight, we're here to help each other out. Now let's get straight to that build and price. So starting off the build and price, you've got your first choice that presents itself with the Lariat. Now you've got a starting price of $25,490. Now of course that's without the $1,500 of transport and handling. And you've got to pick whether you go with the 2.5 liter hybrid engine, or if you add about $1,000, you've got the 2 liter EcoBoost engine. Now, of course, that $1,000 gives you front wheel drive. Now, if you're thinking you're going to hold off and wait for an all-wheel drive hybrid, I'd say you're probably going to get that in the next couple of years. And I'd even say that you're probably going to get, we're all going to get a plug-in front wheel drive in the next couple of years. I hope Ford doesn't wait into the next model until generation 2, but it doesn't seem that complicated because already there's space for a second battery in the vehicle. So I'd say plug-in, maybe a little further down the road, but an all-wheel drive hybrid, I think we can expect that within a couple of years. So, you know, maybe this will help you decide to hold off, but I think that these Mavericks are gonna have good resale value. I don't think they're gonna depreciate like crazy. So I think it'd be a good vehicle to, let's say, lease for 4 years and, you know, plan on maybe switching it within 2 years. I know currently F-150s and Ford Rangers, if you're on a 4-year lease and it's been 2 years, well, you've got something where you'll either break even with your amount owing, the amount that needs to be cleared to, you know, buy out the lease, or in actually a lot of cases recently, you actually have positive equity or cash to put on your next deal. So that can be interesting. So just keep that in mind. Let's start off with building the 2.5 liter hybrid engine, keeping in mind that it's an extra $1,000 had we gone with a 2 liter turbo. So in previous videos, I've talked enough about colors, so I'll just cover it that all the colors from all the other models are available. You know, main thing to keep in mind is if you want a really dark blue that's gonna look black at night, black on a cloudy day, you've got Alto Blue. I think that's gonna look a little bit like antimatter blue, maybe a little more metallic. We'll have to wait and see till we see one of these in, you know, real life. And, you know, Area 51, people have been, you know, saying that it's not a guy color. I don't agree one bit with that. But let's just talk about quickly colors that cost something. Cyber Orange, $495. It looks amazing. Just don't park it beside a school bus because so far it looks like pretty much school bus colored, but it's an awesome color on this vehicle. Hot Pepper Red, $390. And then for colors that cost something, you know, you have the Rapid Red that also has a price upgrade, but you know, it's only available if you take the first edition package. So, and you know, keep in mind to have the first edition package, it seems like the deal of a century, and I'll get to the price in just a moment, but you have to add Lariat luxury package. So picking that color, it's actually kind of crazy, but with having to take Copilot 360, having to add first edition package, and having to add the Lariat luxury package, you could say Rapid Red costs $5,870, which is kind of wild. Talk about putting the pedal to the metal on the price. I would not let money fly out of my wallet that quickly just for a color. So hopefully no one is obsessed with that color and happens to not want all the extra stuff, but just happens to absolutely need that color. So carrying on, what are you getting with the Lariat, and why would you consider getting it over an XLT luxury? Well, in Canada, you're definitely not going to consider it because it's going to cost, I'll cover the price, but from recollection, it's about $8,000 because in Canada, if you want a Maverick Lariat, you have to have it as an all-wheel drive and you have to have it as a 2 liter turbo. So I don't know why that's going on, but it's not that great. But if you're in the US, don't worry about it. If you're looking at an XLT luxury package versus a Lariat, I'll put the exact price, but there's about $1,500 of difference. And you definitely aren't getting the spray and bed liner the way you will on the XLT luxury package. And you're gonna be missing a few things that the luxury package has that we'll add in just a moment. So once you really compare apples to apples, the difference is probably more about $2,500. But the 500A luxury package, the big one that it has that you might really want to go with is the ActiveX material. And you know, let's forget the word material. I think Ford just wanted to, I'm going to assume Ford wanted to avoid using the word, you know, they don't want people to think of it, I would think, as fake leather. And it's not like fake leathers that we've seen in the past where, you know, they seem to crack really quickly. They're hot. Activix, we have it in the Mustang Mach-E, and it's fantastic. We have it in the Escape SEL. So those are two models. You can go down to your local dealership, you know, give a little feel for it. And heck, while you're down there, why not drive an Escape an Escape front wheel drive hybrid? Or if you drive the all wheel drive hybrid, it's still gonna, you know, as long as it's not a snowstorm, if it's, you know, the middle of summer as it is now, you're still gonna get a good ride and you're gonna get a really good impression of the motor and transmission, and you'll get to know, do you like it? And is it worth spending the money on this new Maverick? I'd say yes. I've test driven many times. I had for a week and a half an all-wheel drive hybrid Escape, and I absolutely loved it. So right down to business, pedal to the metal. What else are we getting other than that Activix material, which, like I said earlier in the video, is basically, for the most part, recycled plastic. Everyone thinks it's leather. It's got a nice touch to it. It feels like leather. It's everything that leather has, but it's more durable, doesn't stain nearly as much, and I think it's going to end up being more longer lasting. So with the 500A Lariat, so what are you getting on a standard Lariat? Well, you're getting LED signature lighting. You're getting intelligent access with push buttons. So that means the handle is going to have little lines on it. You put your thumb on it. If the key's on you, you'll lock the door. If you put your hand inside the handle slot, well, it's going to unlock the doors. And then when you get in, you put your foot on the brake, you push a button, and you start the vehicle. So you don't have really a physical key that you really need to do anything other than keep it on your person. You also have dual zone electric automatic temperature control. So this is perfect to avoid arguments about what temperature to have the front. You know, the driver and the passenger each get to have their own temperature, because in couples, how many people actually get along with what temperature to put the house or the vehicle? I think this is probably the most common argument point that couples have. So you're going to avoid some arguments with the Lariat, and I like the sounds of that. Now you've got the power sliding rear window. Recall, this was only about $140 or $150 on the XLT, but it was manual. On the Lariat, you're getting the power sliding rear window. So that's really cool because it's starting to be useful, because when it's manual, how often, other than when you've got, you know, materials you need to pass through that window, before driving somewhere, are you really going to take the time to get in the back seat, open the window? I don't think so. Now, carrying on, we've got the flex bed with rear cubby storage, 2 of them. So that's pretty cool. Little spot to put your, you know, electrical cords, whatever it may be, your straps. So you've got a little spot for that. You've got a 6.5 productivity screen. Now, the build and price website doesn't really give a whole lot of description. I'd love if there was a little brackets right there that explain that this is the screen behind the steering wheel. So the productivity screen behind the steering wheels on the F-150s are 12 inches, and they're incredible. The Escape on higher trims, you've got this, and they're very useful. They look good. So if you like to be pampered, if you like a little flash in your vehicle, you're gonna like this quite a bit. Now, you also get, and here's a big one, an 8-way power driver seat, and it's not listed on the build and price, but you also get the adjustable headrests. Now, you can get that from Ford's order guide. You're also getting the acoustic windshield, so insulation is going to be a little bit better, and you're also getting ambient lighting. Carrying on, let's talk about those packages. So you've got Ford Copilot 360. Covered this in other videos, but if you get just the Ford Copilot 360, you don't have lane centering, you have lane keeping. So like I said earlier, you start to go out of your lane, it's gonna vibrate the steering and bring you back. And you can also, you know, I covered this in my last XLT video, in the options screen behind the steering wheel, you can choose to have, you know, either the vibrating steering wheel turned off, you can turn it all off, or if you don't want it to assist you back in the lane, you can also turn that off. So you can have one, the other, or none at all. Now, it's not that expensive. It's $540. It includes, of course, a blind spot detection, but with cross traffic alert. This is really great. I was backing up just the other day and a vehicle was coming down. I was actually, when I was test driving the Escape for the video, and it didn't make it into the video, but anyways, I was backing up, a vehicle was coming down, and the Valistri that very kindly lets me use their vehicles to do little videos, well, I would have been rear-ended into. So who knows how many more times I would have been allowed to use one of their vehicles. So thankfully what happened is the vehicle, made all sorts of noise, and had it gotten any closer, I believe that the vehicle is actually supposed to brake on its own. So anyone out there that has the definitive answer for this, or if I find it while I'm editing the video, I'll just throw it down. But of course, I want to get this video out. I'm going to edit it a little less because I want to get it out as soon as possible, because the information about 4K towing and how it doesn't work with a front wheel drive hybrid, I want to get that info out as soon as possible. Now, whether you go with Copilot or not, that's your choice. We all, I think all of us passed our driver's license without this technology, or pretty much everyone that watches the channel. I don't have a whole lot of viewers that I know of, according to the stats, that are, around the age of having just gotten their license. And if so, welcome. Thank you very much. So thanks for watching part 1. In part 2, stay tuned. It's going to be coming up in the next few days. We're going to be covering every single option, what the equipment is in each of those options, why you may or may not want to go with each of those options, what to really watch out for and be careful with in regards to those options, like the first edition where you have to add luxury package, so it ends up costing $5,000 some odd dollars. So I'm going to be covering all that, and then of course I'm going to be doing lease versus finance. What are the benefits of each? What are the prices of each? And we're going to go through the different mileage you can look at, the different lease terms. So really all the benefits, the negatives, the positives, because I want to make sure that you're, all ready for your new Maverick, to put the pedal to the metal when your Maverick shows up. So basically, when your Maverick shows up, I want you to be ready to take that thing off the lot and have some fun. So until next time, thanks for watching.